Well, in our first story, in a disturbing surge of criminal activities, the serene neighborhoods within the OEB enclave have become the epicenter of a wave of armed robberies, leaving residents on edge and authorities scrambling to address the situation. CCTV footage obtained by our team reveals brazen armed intruders brandishing shotguns and other weapons, breaking into homes and making off with significant sums of money, plunging the community into a state of fear and insecurity. Now, Emmanuel Samani has visited the area and has come through with the following report.
In the serene enclave of Oyibi, a dark shadow has cast its presence. A surge in armed robbery cases has rattled the tranquility of this community, leaving residents in fear and anguish. Brazenly armed with shotguns and other weapons, these criminals have been captured on CCTV, forcing their way into the sanctuaries of unsuspecting families. The scenes are disturbing, as the perpetrators make off with not only material possessions, but also the sense of security cherished by the residents. Over 15 homes have been robbed in the past 2 weeks, leaving the people in the community feeling insecure. I visited Oyibi to gauge the impact of these alarming incidents of the local residents. Speaking to some residents, it became evident that fear looms large in this once peaceful community.
Thursday dawn at exactly 2:24 a.m., armed robbers came to this house. They came with the intention to rob us. When they came, the person climbed the wall and jumped into the building and then opened for the others. There are about 4 people.
The recent happening in the area about 4 nights ago has made all of us residents here very unsecured in terms of security-wise. I have stayed here for the past 6 years, but current occurrence has made me very unsecured with my other neighbors.
Yeah, I was in my room around 1:30 a.m. on Thursday when I heard some scratches on my door. So I thought it was my cat. It normally do that thing. But later I saw it on my window. Then my wife asked me, this noise is heavy. It's not a cat.
Within a couple of weeks, maybe let me say within 2 weeks, we've had 5 houses attacked in this area. And most often, these guys come and operate within the hours of, let's say, between 1 and 2:30.
The inability of the police to curtail these brazen robberies has emboldened the criminals, allowing them to become more daring and menacing. In an attempt to curb the recent incidents of robberies in the community, police commanders at Oyibi organized a community talk with the residents on how to curb the current situation. Despite the efforts of law enforcement, the challenges persist, and the community is left grappling with the stark reality that their homes, once a haven, has become targets for daring criminals. As residents weigh the options of relocation and authorities grapple with an increasing audacious criminal element, the imperative for swift decisive action becomes all the more pressing. Emmanuel Samani, TV3 News, Oyibi.
While still in security, a board member of the Small Arms Commission says a bill has been laid before Parliament with the aim of fighting the increasing spread of small arms and light weapons in the country. Dr. Adam Bona, who happens to be a security analyst, says the consideration and passage of the bill is more crucial in this year, especially as the country goes into the polls. Now, his comments come on the back of increased armed robbery attacks being recorded in Oyibi and its environs.
The Small Arms Commission will become an authority. It means that we will be able to go out there and regulate and monitor and control and put in more stringent measures that would ensure that small arms and sophisticated weapons that are in the hands of citizens, which they are using to terrorize people, will be a thing of the past. But until then, it is going to be the firefighting approach in dealing with the canker called proliferation of small arms in the hands of people. And so I think that bill we took about 5 years to put it together. And I know it's either within the Ministry of the Interior or it's gone to Cabinet. Whichever way, we need this bill, in fact, to go to Parliament for it to be enacted upon to become a law. Once it becomes a law, I'm telling you that if you look at it critically, fighting crimes that are by the use of firearms would be something that we can bring to the barest minimum.
Well, let's do some politics now. There has been intense jostling among the New Patriotic Party members as to who will become the running mate to the flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But the immediate past chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, wants the party to choose a candidate who Ghanaians can relate to. Frederick Kunzotiani has the rest of the story.
The two leading political parties in Ghana, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, are yet to announce their running mates ahead of the December 7 polls. On the part of the government, the NPP named several notable figures, such as the MP for Menchia South and Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, the Majority Leader and MP for Swami, Oseichi Mensah-Bonsu, and the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and MP for Bekwai, Joseph Osei-Wusu, and the Education Minister MP for Bosomtwe, Dr. Yao Osei-Educhum, and comes for consideration. Who should he choose to complement his resume and contribute to the party's aim of breaking the eight?
There isn't any set down criteria that the party will go by. But these are people, National Council members, are very experienced individuals, knowledgeable. But the first thing is that the person loyalty towards the party. But above all, the person should be extremely knowledgeable and honest, humble, for people to link up and easily associate with.
As we head to the December polls, former national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Freddie Blay, wants political parties to put measures in place to tackle the issue of vote buying during elections.
It's not healthy and it's not good. And I think we should do as much as possible. Statesmen and individuals of goodwill, we should all together, across the parties, make efforts to minimize it if you cannot stamp it totally.
Concerns have been raised about the impact of 18 members of parliament of the NPP who have voluntarily decided not to contest the January 27 primaries will have on the legislature. But Freddie Blay, who himself was a member of the 2nd, 3rd and 4th parliaments of the 4th Republic, representing Elembele, believes this will give room for younger people to be nurtured to fill the gap for the party.
Variably. And if they decided to move, I think it gives room for others to also come up. But I agree with you that experience is good. But if they've decided to go, what can you do? You can't persuade them that they should stay against their will. But besides that, I'm saying nobody forced any of them to leave.
Well, Freddie Blay has also debunked claims by a former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan, about the widespread and pervasive public corruption plaguing the Ghanaian society. The board chair of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, says the Akufo-Addo government has put more effort into fighting corruption than any government in Ghana.
Bribery and corruption are major problems in Ghana. The World Bank estimates that bribery and other forms of corruption cost the country 5% of its gross domestic product GDP each year. Speaking at this year's Constitution Day public lecture organized by the University of Professional Studies Accra UPSA Law School and the One Ghana movement, a former chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan, bemoaned the widespread and pervasive public corruption plaguing Ghanaian society, stating that it has made citizens poorer over time. However, the immediate past national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, disagrees with him.
I disagree with him that over the years we become poorer. This country has not gone poorer. Indeed, we are not rich, but we are edging towards being a middle income country among the Community of Nations.
He argued that government's digitalization agenda has helped in the fight against corruption.
The policies with emphasis will fight the corruption for you. Digitization is one. Democratic institutions like Yoko have given it more money than this country and other Fourth Republic has ever had. Police have been empowered more than any other government have done. The judiciary has been empowered to the extent they've been giving them anything that they need.
Freddie Blay again refuted accusations of the interference of President Akufo-Addo and investigations into corruption allegations against his appointees.
If anybody is accused, or there's an allegation of corruption, reasonably so that people are talking about it, it's referred to the, let's say, police to investigate. It's referred to Yoko to investigate. If they do investigate, the government is not interfering. It's allowing the law to take its course. It's allowing special prosecutor to do whatever he thinks is right, to have his way. I will defend that President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has not become a clearing agent in this country.
Ghana, for the third year in a row, scored 43 out of 100 on the 2022 Corruption Perception Index (CPI). The CPI measures the level of perceived corruption in various countries. Ghana's best corruption perception index (CPI) score in the past 11 years was in 2014, when the country scored 48. As the government and various stakeholders take steps to tackle corruption in the country, it is incumbent on every Ghanaian to join in the fight.
Well, let's do some education-related stories now. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, have reiterated their call on government to recruit more lecturers into the public universities following the increase in the intake of students over the years. National President of UTAG, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, says they are yet to hear from government over their proposal asking for more lecturers. Meanwhile, on the issue of their conditions of service, UTAG says no invite has been extended to them after their walkout from a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
We've not had any response or anything from government in that regard. And so that's another thorny issue that we are hoping that the government will listen to us, because if we are putting an intervention the mid-level, secondary, senior high school level, and then we are producing numbers, the universities are also going to have to contend with these numbers. And we cannot continue to have the same level of infrastructure, the same level of human resource to be able to accommodate these increasing numbers. And so with that should do well to address that aspect of our concern.
Well, let's do sports now. And Black Stars coach Chris Hughton is confident the team can put up a good showing in the ongoing African Cup of Nations, despite a poor display in the first game, which saw less fancied Cape Verde pick up all 3 points. Now, a man in Abidjan, Oreku, watched the game and has the rest of the story.
The rain is currently pouring here at the Stade Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium after the Ghana versus Cape Verde match. Usually, when it rains, it signifies showers of blessing, but it looks as if the Black Stars are looking the opposite direction, as they seem to be making a curse out of opening games at the Africa Cup of Nations. In the last 3 opening games of the Continental Showpiece, the Black Stars are still yet to pick up a victory, this time losing to Cape Verde by 2-1 after a late goal from Gary Rodriguez. The nature of the goal was very poor, as the Cape Verde player benefited from an individual mistake, and that's something head coach of the side, Chris Hughton, says he cannot take responsibility for.
We have to make what we regard as the correct decisions when we're making substitutions. What we can't account for, what we can never account for, is conceding poor goals. And I think when we assess their second goal, very close to the end of the game, and when we analyse it, it's an incredibly poor goal to concede. And what we can't be accountable for is individual mistakes. This we can't be accountable for. All we can do is make sure that we, as a team, perform well and perform our duties as well as a team.
Despite being on the losing side, Alexander Jiku picked up the Man of the Match award. He's now scored in consecutive AFCONs for the Black Stars, but in those two tournaments, Ghana seemed to concede late in every game. If you remember, the first game in the 2021 edition against Morocco, and then there was the one against Gabon, and the last match against Comoros, which ensured that Ghana were knocked out at the group stages. That behavior seems to have carried over into this tournament in Ivory Coast, conceding in added time against Cape Verde. Jiku believes that the team needs to show more aggression and passion, especially in the dying embers of the game.
So difficult, but we need to do more. We need to do more aggressive. We need to play more. We need to create more chance, and we need to score also. So we have another game, second game, and we need to win.
Up next for Chris Hughton and the Black Stars is a tricky test against Egypt, who are record winners of the competition and didn't start too well after drawing with Mozambique. Just a heads up that the Black Stars have not beaten Egypt since winning 6-1 against them in 2013. The two sides have met 4 times since then, Ghana losing on 3 occasions and drawing once. And so it looks like an uphill task for the Black Stars, who would need a good result to ensure that they don't repeat the mistakes of the 2021 edition in Cameroon. Ore Kwampofo reporting from the Stade Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium for 3 Sports.
Well, we're surely hoping for the best in the upcoming games. Well, let's do some entertainment now. And Ghanaian photographer and content creator Patrick Amenuvo has called off his quest to undertake the Guinness World Record longest standing marathon by an individual. He had wanted to stand from January 14 to 21. But in a statement, Patrick, however, notes that he has already breached some of the rules governing the exercise, hence the decision to suspend the attempt at this stage. This latest attempt comes weeks after both Ifwa Asantwe-Duonum and Chef Fila completed their push for longest singing marathon and the longest cooking marathon. Well, that's how I wrap up the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We'll go for a short break. We'll be back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.